And we're screencasting yet again. Okay, so let's finish the WestBury Music Fair problem. Okay, now let's see where we left off. Program, edit, West, right? Or if anyone was absent or whatever, this is what we did. Now remember the WestBury Music Fair problem. We have, in the WestBury Music Fair, you have that central stage that rotates, right? Yes? Yeah, go ahead. Yeah. Okay, and to the north, south, east, and west, there's a bunch of bleachers. And the first bleacher has, the first row of seats has 10 seats. Wherever you feel like. They should all be the same, yeah. This is called West, yeah. The first row of seats is 10 seats, then 12, then 14, then 16. So we have an arithmetic sequence with a common difference of 2. The first thing we wanted to do was figure out how many seats in the 20th row, because there's 20 rows. So we wrote this program. We said, okay, your name, clear home, prompt n, how many rows? For x equals 1 to n, step by 1. So x is 1, then add 1, x is 2, then add 1, x is 3, then add 1, and it stops when you hit x equals n. If we plug in 20, it stops at 20. It calculates the arithmetic sequence 10 plus, remember how we wrote it, n minus 1 times 2? So if you plug in 1, you get 10. If you plug in 2, you get 12. If you plug in 3, you get 14, and so forth. So we ran this thing for 20, and we figured out how many seats in the last row. 48. Okay, so let's just run that again. Who's missing this? Anyone missing this? All right, look on with your neighbor. Nick, you want to show him the West code? All right, so when we ran this, we said program, execute, West. And then if you run it for 1 row, you got 10. If you run it for 2 rows, you got 10 and 12. If you run it for 3 rows, you get 10, 12, and 14, like we wanted, right? If so, if you run it for all 20 rows, you find that the last row has 48. There you go. And that's great. But how do you add them all up? You've lost all the information up here. It's scrolled off the screen. So what did we say we were going to do? Put it in a list. So how are you going to do that? Program, edit, West. We have to construct a list. Remember L1, L2, L3 from stat edit? That's what we're going to do. So instead of displaying those numbers, we're going to put those numbers in a list. All right, so go here, get rid of the display, delete that, and then store it. Hit the store key in L1. That's second one. Now I think that may not be enough. Let's test this, see if it works, but I think there's more we have to do. I'm going to use list 1. You ready? All right, did you try that? Did you get that? Let's see what that does. I have a feeling that's going to be an error. Hang on. What does the error say? Data type, go to, okay. Now the lists in BASIC are different from the lists in Python. The lists in Python, you can just throw stuff in the list, throw it in, throw it, right? The lists in BASIC, they're not really lists, they're called really arrays. An array has like a sub 1, a sub 2, right? Like the seeding chart was a sub 1 was 10, a sub 2 was 12, a sub 3 was 14. You have to say which one you're at. You have to say L1 where. You can actually plug in the number wherever you want it. So the first one I'm going to put in L1 of 1. The second one I'm going to put in L1 of 2. But look who's counting. Who's 1, 2, 3, 4, X. So that's what's missing. By the way, just for fun, let me make sure this, let's see what's in the list now. Stat, edit, what's in the list 1? I got nothing. Okay, good. All right, so program, edit, West. And what's missing here is that BASIC requires this in the syntax, of X. X is your counting variable. Sometimes in some programs, like in while loops, we set count equal to 0, and we count equals count plus 1, we're counting variable. Well, for loop automatically has a counting variable. It's that X or that I or whatever you have here. I think that's all you have to do. Let's try it. All right, so let's run it again for, I don't know, for 3. Now, see, it didn't do anything. But where's the output? Go to stat, edit, and there it is. Perfect. Okay. So now let's do it for all 20. Program. Well, I don't have to execute again, but program execute 5. Enter. And then let's do all 20. And then when you go to stat edit, it's there. Look, L1 of 1 is 10. L1 of 2 is 12. L1 of 3, the 3, that's the x, right? L1 of 4 is 16, then 18, 20. Do we get all the way to 48 on the 20th row? L1 of 20 is 48, perfect. And there's nothing after that. All right, that's step 1. Okay, who's stuck at this point? There's the code so far. So we're not displaying it, we're storing it in the list. Yeah.
Do you say for 20 it's 40?
The last one would be 48, the last one's the 20.
Because my L1 of 20 is 40.
Okay, you're off. So everyone has the last value is 48. We had a problem here a second ago. It was off by a couple of places. We fixed it, and the output was still wrong because it was only overriding the first 20 slots. So she had like 22 slots. Is there a way that we can initialize the list so it's empty to start?
Yes. Go to second catalog, click C, and then go to clear list.
Oh, really? That does it?
Yeah, clear list, and then the list you want to clear.
Right. So in other words, if I run it again, whoops, if I run it again, and I only run it for like 3, I want it to start with a clean list and have only 3 outputs, but look what it has. It has all of them. So is there a way to clear that out before you start? Now, I know you can clear it out here, right? Do you know how to clear it out here? Just clear enter. That's it. Done. But how do you clear it in the program? Let's see. I think,
Second catalog,
all right, second catalog what?
click C,
Where?
click the letter
C, okay.
go down to C clear list.
Clear all lists. That'll do it. Down one? Yeah, I did. Clear all lists. That one.
No, clear list. That'll clear everything, not just one.
Yeah, clear all lists, right? Oh, just plain clear list, just that one? Well, clear list and then you say L1? Okay, that's good. I think, okay, let's do that. I think there's another way to do it, but that'll do. Okay, so program, edit 5, and then right after my clear home, second, insert, enter. Let's make sure that the lists start clean. So second catalog, C, and don't clear all lists, just clear list L1. God bless. Second one, there it goes. All right, so if I run it again, and I only do like 3, that's all I'm going to see, right? And if I do it again for like 5, you'll see more when you go to stat edit. But if you go back and run it again for like, I don't know, 2, you should only see the 2. That can be a problem if the list doesn't start clear. So let's make sure that's right. That's right. That's perfect. All right. So now let me go back to running it for 20. Now remember, this is not the only thing we had to do. Whoops, I didn't run it. Run it for 20. 20. Okay. Program 5. No. Stat edit. All right, so you should see that in L1. Anyone stuck? Oh. Yep. Yeah. Let's see. Program, edit, 5. That's what we got so far, except for the end at the bottom. All right. So who's stuck? We good? You okay? I'm going to list the whole thing on the bottom. Okay. That's just the west bleacher, or north bleacher, whatever it is. So what we're going to do is this. Second quit, program edit, 5. And then what I'm going to do is, after this loop is done, I'm going to multiply everything in L1 by 4 and store it in L2. 4 times second L1 store as L2. That's after the loop. That's outside the loop. That happens once. The loop goes like 20 times, whatever, but this happens once. Take everything in L1, multiply it by 4, put that in L2. All right, let's see what that does. Does everyone have that last line after the end? That's all I'm doing. All right, I think that's all you have to do. So, run it again. Bing. And do 20. Bing. And, ooh, look at that. Now look what it did. It shows me what it calculated before it stored it. So it's displaying, instead of 10, 12, 14, it's displaying 4 times 10, 4 times 12, 4 times 14. But what I want to know is if it's in stat edit. And it is. Great. Now what's the answer? Well, wait, what was the question? We forgot the question already. How many seats in the entire theater? How do you figure out how many seats in the entire theater? This is how many seats in the first row in all 4 bleachers. This is how many seats in the second row in all 4 bleachers. How do we get all of them, add them all up? Well, add them all up. So, well, actually it's easier than that. I think, yeah, program, edit 5, go to the last line, hit enter for a blank line, and what do you think I'm going to do to L2? Sum it. So guess where that is? I think its second stat is list. Second stat. Then go to ops. No. Math. Yeah. Where? Sum what? Well, no. The sum will be one number. Remember, the sum is a series is one number. So it's not a list. So L2. And I think it'll just print it out on the screen. Let's see if that does. All right, so let's go through this. Let's see, program, execute, 5, 20, and there it is. That's it, 2320. Now, how do we know if that's right? Stat, calc, no, stat edit. Is this also arithmetic? Yeah, the first term is 40, and the common difference is 8, and the last term is what? 192. So if you know it's arithmetic, and you know the common difference is 8, well, you know the common difference is 8 makes it arithmetic, right? And you know the first row is 40, and the last row is 192. How do you figure out the sum yourself? And the number of rows, which is 20, times average of the first and the last, which is 40 and 192. All right, let's see if that's true. What's 20 times 40 plus 192 divided by 2? Does everyone see where that came from?
Yeah.
And is it the same?